Find us on Facebook, email us at head2headpinball@gmail.com, or go to our website at head2headpinball.com. Welcome everybody to the Head2Head Pinball Podcast, episode 18. My name's Martin, and with me...
We are the music makers. We are the dreamers of dreams. It's Ryan C.
What was that from?
It's from Willy Wonka, the good one, not the shit one.
Oh, why would you be bringing that up?
Well, we got some rumor news today on Jersey Jack. We're going to be talking about the IFPA Power 100. We've got Alien updates, Big Lebowski updates, news on Stern from IAPA and Free Play Florida. We're going to be talking a bit more about Guardians. We're going to be playing a really cool quiz game with just you and the non-existent contestant we have on today. And then we'll talk a little bit about what we've done this week in pinball. Let's get to it. So what are we going to start with, IAPA? Yeah, so there was IAPA on the weekend and in the US, and also Free Play Florida, and there's some news coming out of there. Well, yeah, this is purely a rumor. This is just literally one guy on Pin's side that said, I'm pretty sure he said, hey, I talked to Jack, and JJP number 6 is going to be Willy Wonka, not Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the one that you like, Marty. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which is the original with Gene Wilder.
So it's not really a surprise, is it?
Well, I don't even know if I believe it, because I don't know. It was about a year and a half ago, before Dialed In was announced. This guy came on the forums like an ex-employee, and he just dumped all this information. Ended up getting removed, but I managed to kind of save it. And everything this guy has said has come true. He explained Dialed In, and it's exactly how the machine was. He said Pirates of the Caribbean is next, and then Toy Story is after that. And then he mentioned one other title, and it wasn't Willy Wonka, but maybe they'll delay that title to a further date, or not. But who knows? It's
a lot of people would be loving that theme if that was to come, and I think that really suits what I think is. I'm taking Dialed In out, because I kind of feel, for me, there's this progression from Wizard of Oz to Hobbit to Pirates of the Caribbean, and Dialed In is just this, almost like this second stream, but I think that Willy Wonka fits in with those other three so far.
Yeah, to me, Willy Wonka, Wizard of Oz, and probably Alice in Wonderland, I feel like are these three evergreen kind of movies to me that I don't understand when anyone doesn't like them. It's just part of my childhood in a certain way that, I don't know, makes me smile every time I watch them. But you're a little bit different, because we've had this conversation before that you prefer the newer iteration of the movie.
And there was at least one person that agreed with me. And it's not to say that I didn't. It's not that I didn't like the original. It's very long, but it just, as a child, that movie just sort of didn't really stick with me. So. Not that it's a bad movie, but I think it would be a fantastic theme, and there is so much you can do in the Willy Wonka universe in a pinball machine. The toys and the modes and everything already just leap out at me at what they could do, and if it's in the hands of Jersey Jack, I just think they could do another winner.
Yeah, it was one of those movies that just, I think they redid in colour. It was already in colour, but they kind of enhanced it at one point. And just that first scene where they one of those first scenes where they walk out into that chocolate hand thing. As a kid, I just dreamt about that when I went to bed. I was just like, yes, this is going to happen one day. I'm going to get that golden ticket. I'm going to the Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory.
And how's that gone for you? Still no ticket?
Well, you know what it's like, Marty. Hope is better than actually, like the dreams are better than actually doing it, right?
Absolutely.
That's what I started off with. We are the music makers. We are the dreamers of dreams.
Fantastic. Yes. So what were there any other rumours that came out this weekend?
Well, there's Guardians of the Galaxy stuff, but we're going to talk about that in a little bit later. So you've got some news on the IFPA Power 100. What is the Power 100?
Oh, don't make me explain it. But this is the best of the best. It's a way of being able to. I believe they're using like a win-loss ratio on the top 200 players in the world, and the good news is, really, I'm not going to get bogged down on how it works. All I can tell you that Jordan Treadaway, our very own Jordan Treadaway, Australia's own Jordan Treadaway, is currently number 9 on the Power 100. So he actually just, we talked about, recently he's just been winning tournament after tournament. I honestly can't remember the last time he has lost a tournament.
I do.
Well, but like a major, but as a result, he's gone into the top 200 in the world, which qualifies him to be in the Power 100, and he's number 9 because really he is winning so much more than he is coming second or technically losing.
Yeah, I think the top 100 is winning percentage against the top 250 players. So I guess after he won the event at Melbourne Match Play, his percentage kind of went up. So he's got a 80% win-loss record against top 250 players.
Yeah, and he continues to grow. He's currently number 7 in Australia, and, well, you know what? If he keeps his current form, that will just keep going. He really is the one to beat, and I talked to a lot of really good players at Melbourne Match Play and other recent events, and some really, really top players said to me, he's actually just really good to watch.
Yeah, and he's quite humble as well.
Yep.
I always try and give him stick and pump him up, but he's just, he's still a kid, and he's still very very humble about it all.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see him kind of graduate from school and then go traveling around when he gets his license, because right now his parents are still driving around everywhere.
Oh no, he does get public transport. But yeah, look, we talked when we went to Papa this year. We said, shall we come back in 2018? And he's got his final year at school, so he sort of wants to focus on getting good results. But you never know, the timing might be right, and he might have been able to go. But
if only these pinball tournaments paid more money, right? Like it could be his job. I'm a professional pinball player, but you got to go to school, you got to go to university, because I don't think you can pay your way through life. Well, not at the moment. Maybe one day in the future with more sponsorship. But
I'd actually be keen to know if there are actually pinball players that earn enough that they don't have to work.
Well, I remember my cousin who's overseas said, "Oh, hey, I'm really into poker." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, cool." And like, "What do you do for a job now?" And he's like, "Oh, I kind of quit my job and now I'm just a poker player." And I'm like, "Are you serious? Like, how much money, do you possibly make?" And he's like, "Just Google my name and there's this website for poker players, and you can literally type in someone's name and it brings up every tournament they've ever been in and their earnings as well." And my cousin had made he started 6 months ago. He made €75,000 or something like that. I'm making up the figure, but it was a significant amount. And it would be kind of, well, maybe cool, maybe it'd be sad if you had to report winnings as part of pinball tournaments, and you could kind of see. It might get people more interested, because that, for a split second, I was like, what am I doing with my life? I could just be sitting there, playing poker and earning a living from that. Not that I like playing poker, but you know what I mean, right?
And poker is obviously a much more advanced and bigger industry than the pinball community is. So, but I'd just be curious to know if there are people that make enough that they don't really have to worry too much about working, and maybe they've got a part-time job somewhere. I mean, Keith Elwin wins most of the tournaments, and he's got a job at Stern, so who knows?
What else we got, Manny?
So we have an Alien update. So Highway Pinball announced this week they finished the first production run of the standard edition, and the second production run has started. But they're also saying that the second production run will have limited edition as well, which has been a bit of a sticking point, because my understanding is that the limited editions are stripped down as well, so they don't have all the extra things. I mean, when they announced, and when our good friend of the show, Andrew Highway, announced that they were doing the fibre optic ramp lighting, I just remember at the time people kind of just said, "Are you sure?" I just don't think. I think that was kind of almost the moment where people said, okay,
Why?
this has gone a bit ridiculous. You're trying to now compensate for something. For me, that was it. That was the tipping point where people went, are you for real? This is now not believable. But so they're coming out, and some other things as well. So I think the differences between standard editions and limited editions are coming a lot closer. But what I've also heard is that you've still got a lock-in price for the limited edition. If you were to cancel that to go back in, you'd actually have to pay more. So people are sort of stuck with what they've got.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are going to go. The standard edition, I think, now costs almost as much or more than the old price of the limited edition. So there are a fair amount of people that have stuck in, including Time Bandit, who we interviewed a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
He's happy to wait. He's a patient guy. But yeah, it's weird. I mean, I'm not sure who is going to go in now on an Alien LE if they didn't already have their money in at the cheaper price. Maybe they should chop down the numbers to. It doesn't sound like they really want to make them. So just say, okay, it's 150 LEs, and then that's it, and they can concentrate on the standards. Because you don't want that kind of 500 of these versions that they don't want to make. If they limit it to a certain amount, then that might sell them out, kind of like what Spooky did with America's Most Haunted, where it wasn't really selling, and they said 150 only. They all sold out, and then Rob Zombie kind of sold out after that. Maybe that is what they need to kind of get people ordering from distributors.
Who knows? I just want people to get their machines now, and it sounds like they are getting into the hands of people. They've got some problems. They've got some build quality issues, but that's for the boutique manufacturers. That's sort of par for the course, and even for Stern, like the machines that I've seen that have come brand new have had a bit of fiddling to do. The Jersey Jack, the 2 Jersey Jack machines that I've received have had quite a bit of adjustment that have needed to be done to get them right. So I don't know. I guess
they need to be dialed in, hey?
Oh, I see what you did there.
David Thiel as well, who's the sound engineer guy who we talked about last week, also going to make a post on Pinside saying that he finally has his version of Alien, which will help him finish off the code, and they're hoping in mid-December that the game is 100% complete and polished. Which, I mean, as I said, it's been a while since they announced Alien and they shipped the first units, but I mean, how many people have them? Probably less than 100. So it'd be nice that if and when the people get them, it will actually be complete.
Yeah.
However, there are some issues with people getting refunds. There's a thread on Pinside where someone's trying to tally the amount of money that still hasn't been refunded. And a lot of people did get refunds, but I think the thread's up to about $37,000 US now, which doesn't sound like...
It doesn't sound like a lot. That's like 4 or 5 machines.
But I guess the problem is that, I mean, if there were no pre-orders and that was the only refund money, you'd kind of brush it off. But you have to remember that they're also kind of in the hole for all of the machines that have been pre-ordered direct with them that haven't been delivered. So, if you have 20, 30, 40 people that are fully paid up, that might be $200,000+. Who knows what the figure is that they still need to produce. So I hope they have enough financial backing to figure it all out.
Yeah.
It sounds like they do, because they are planning their next machine, which we keep on referring to as, well, I do, as number 2, but it's actually number 3. Right?
Well, yeah, because we don't really count Full Throttle. But what I'd also heard, and I can't remember where I heard this from, but and we talked about this early on when I was, I had said, if you don't want to be in on it, get your money, get your refund. Absolutely, that's the right thing to do. But then I was wondering, what that impact that would have on the new investors if they expected a certain amount of refunds to come through, but now it's more. And from what I've heard, it is a lot more refunds have been requested than they thought.
Well, I think a lot of people got their money back through their credit cards through a chargeback. Like, yeah. I know of someone who's got most of his money back through that way, and the only money that is still owing is, from when the machine was announced in 2014 or 15, like ages ago. And you can't do a credit card chargeback on that because it's way past the kind of the chargeback date. So I'm not sure if Yeah, who knows? I mean, eventually they have to. They can't not refund people, but maybe they just want to ship some more machines in hopes that people are going to be like, that refund I wanted, Alien is awesome. I'll keep my machine. I don't know.
Well, if you just sort of mentioned before that there is talk of their next machine, number 3. I wonder if they could keep their refund and put it into the next machine coming out, because Aliens had mixed reviews.
Well, I still haven't played it properly, so I'm hoping we can do a stream one day, because we've actually got a prize to give away that's Alien related. But I've been waiting for us to talk about Alien in a positive way after maybe doing a stream at Mr. Pinball if he's got his and it's working.
Yeah, Wayne.
Whenever he wants to do it.
We'll come and stream Alien, because as we said, when we got to play it, I know you only got to play one ball. I got to play, I think, 2 or 3 games. I was really surprised at how much I enjoyed it, because I just thought it was going to be a complete stinker, and it didn't seem that way.
Yeah. So number 3 is designed by Barry Ausler. Is that his name?
Now, Do you know what games Barry Ausler has done?
I can search for it on IPDB if you want.
You don't need to.
Because you've done it?
Because I already have it. No, I do. But I'm going to highlight some games that he has either solely designed or been responsible for, because he did a lot of designs with Python Angelo. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to call some out. You ready?
Yeah.
Junkyard.
Bleh.
What? Junkyard's a great game.
It's a junk pinball.
Ah, great. Play on words. Jackpot. And Pinbot.
Yeah, same game.
Doctor Who.
Ah, yes.
Did you know that was designed by him?
I should be reading is it just him or is it someone else?
It's with somebody else. Bill, you can...
Oh my God, Bill...
Futzenrauter, I'm going to say. Just Bill. Just Bill, we call him. Bram Stoker's Dracula is another one. He was involved in the... What was it?
He's involved in the 70s. Yes. Around forever.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He has done a lot of great machines.
Barracuda.
Yeah, Barracuda is one of his great machines. So he did the whole, Comet, Cyclone, Hurricane trilogy with Python Angelo. He did that.
Yeah.
But, so... I did say to you before, when I was going to say that he saved pinball, and you went, what? Another one? So he didn't really save pinball, but he was responsible for a game that really kick-started one of the surges in pinball, and that was the game Space Shuttle.
Okay.
And I remember when, back in the day, I was alive then, were you? 1984?
Depends which month you're talking about. December. Yes, I was alive. I was 1 month old. I was 1 month old. I was
well into my teens then. So when this machine came out, so it was actually a concept. It was Joe Kamenkow's machine, but it was designed by Barry Ausler as well. When this machine came out, there was something about it that it was the sounds, the light show, the speed of this machine really freshened the industry. Like the ramps were great. There was just something about this machine, and it really kicked off a resurgence in pinball in '84. Well, then obviously into '85 onwards.
Cool.
So it is actually you people will talk to you and say Space Shuttle was one of those machines that plays a very important part in pinball history.
Well, he's back. I'm not sure. What was the last machine that he made? Jeez, we're being like Junkyard?
96.
Wow. Okay, so he's come out of retirement, 20 years since Junkyard, 20 or so years, and he's going to be making Highway Pinball number 3, which apparently might be Queen. So what do we know about it? It's a wide body.
Okay.
It has to be a wide body, right? Because they all use the same kind of cabinet system. So
well, that if they continue. I'm assuming that they're going to continue because there's been a lot of investment in engineering that swappable cabinet design. So you could only assume that it would be.
Well, it'd be, as I said, people that buy Alien. I mean, it's kind of music to their ears that I can buy a machine for I don't know, how much is it? $2,000 less or something. Yeah. I don't know how much the new costs are, but that would be kind of handy. I mean, you're more likely to pull the trigger on something that you can swap out potentially. It depends on the person. What else do we know? The third design is for an original unlicensed theme. What?
Yeah.
I'm reading these little notes here.
Yeah, no, okay. So he has designed... Apparently he's actually designed 3 playfield layouts for new games. So I believe that the next 2 will be licensed theme, but the third one will be an original unlicensed theme.
I skipped 2 lines here. Whoops.
Yeah,
okay. So the third game will be... they're hoping that it's going to be announced at the Texas Pinball Festival. That's the TPF Texas Pinball Festival.
Which
in
you
March.
will be there.
Well, I keep on saying I'm going to be there, but I haven't booked my tickets yet because I'm not sure if I told you, but every single trip I've gone on, I just kind of mention it, and my wife just plans everything. And it doesn't. The tickets don't seem to be materializing in my inbox like they usually do. I've actually got to plan it out, which for me, I'm very unorganized. It's a very daunting task for me, but I will get that on that very soon.
Well, I hope so, because a lot of people are counting on you. A lot of people want to meet you at this TPF. Well,
Bruce has invited me to stay over at his house, and I don't know. After the whole George Takei thing, I'm not sure if I want to. Sorry,
he's in a bit of trouble, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh my.
So what other news? Well, we got our email update from our good friends of the show, Dutch Pinball, about the Big Lebowski. So I'll just give you a bit of a summary. So it said, last update we informed you that we would test the Zytec machine at the Dutch Pinball Open that was held. It was actually held last weekend. I don't know if anyone's seen, but the Dutch Pinball Open had, I think we were talking about last week, had 470 pinball machines at this place that you called it out, looked like a giant UFO. It just looked amazing. But what they said is they actually had 2 games. So they had an old Big Lebowski and a new one of the China-built ones side by side, and a lot of people couldn't tell which one was which.
Cool.
And so I think what they were really trying to do was to do a bit of an endurance test on it. And so they've said as long as when they're satisfied with the quality of the samples, then they will get into full production. So, I mean, who knows? I would say, if I'm a betting man, I reckon March, April next year, earliest you'll get your machine.
Okay.
What do you think?
That's enough screen time for them. Well, they're sending out emails every 1-2 weeks, so we're literally going to be talking about the same thing every 1-2 weeks.
I know. It is that. I know that they have to sort of give us at least 3 to 4 paragraphs, but they might as well have just said it in one sentence. But anyway.
It's not ready yet. Soon, guys. It's not ready yet. Soon, guys.
Sorry, Lucas, but my prediction is April next year. But I think people are going to get their machines.
As I said, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but the state of the market now, it's just like, not who cares, but it's going to get so competitive, and companies that don't have their foot in the door, like properly, like Spooky and JJP and Stern, I think are going to really, really struggle because, machines like the Big Lebowski, when it came out, had an LCD screen. I was like, wow, better than Stern, all this cool innovation. And now, I mean, the LCD looks crap compared to Stern's one. Because
it was my biggest criticism when I played Big Lebowski was how grainy that display on the Big Lebowski was.
It's not new anymore, so they're not wowing. It's going to be hard to wow because the LCD isn't a selling point anymore, right? Anyway,
so let's move on to Stern then.
Stern. So there was a couple of talks on the weekend. Steve Ritchie did a talk, and he was asked kind of questions about Star Wars, and there was a little snippet which you can listen to on thisweekinpinball.com, which is a great little website. And basically, the snippet is about Steve Ritchie saying that he said it already, but he hates working with licensed properties at the moment, and he kind of didn't have fun working with LucasArts for Star Wars, and his next machine, and he's having a lot of fun doing it, is an unlicensed theme. Now, Jeff Teolis from Pinball Profile was at one of the events. I think it was Free Play Florida, and he did a little 10-minute interview with Gary Stern, and I'm not sure, have you listened to that one yet?
I haven't yet, no.
Okay, so Gary Stern's a seasoned professional with kind of PR spins. So he kind of asked in the question, I've been hearing rumors that there might be an unlicensed theme in the works, and Gary kind of like sidesteps the question and you know, he goes on to talk, you know, for 2 minutes about how amazing licensed themes are, and you know, if I was to talk about, you know, a zombie Adventureland kind of thing, like no one's going to buy it, but if I say The Walking Dead, someone's going to throw hundreds of $1,000s to me, you know, which is true, and it does make sense. Yeah, sure. But Steve Ritchie isn't going to be lying. You know, I believe Steve Ritchie, you know, more than Gary Stern. So I'm guessing the reason why he sidestepped the question is because they don't have that machine ready right now to ship. And if he sits there and pumps up unlicensed themes, what are people going to buy, Marty?
Well, they'll wait, won't they? Because everyone is still waiting for their dream unlicensed theme.
There's no such thing as a dream unlicensed theme.
I know, but I think people are still... We want unlicensed themes, but not that one. But we still want unlicensed theme. Oh.
You know what people want? People want an unlicensed remake. There's no way in hell that Stern are going to make, like, you know, an equivalent of Dialed In. It will be the Black Knight 3000. It will be something, you know, F-15 Tomcat.
Roller Games 2000.
Well, Roller Games is licensed. It's gonna be an original theme from back in the day, but they're just gonna make a newer version of it because there's a 20, 30 year nostalgia kind of thing to work off there. So
we'll take Black Knight out of the picture because I reckon that would be a great remake. Can you think of an old machine that you would love for them to remake?
Didn't we do this, or did I do this with somebody else?
I don't know. We probably did. I just. Outside of Black Knight, I can't think of an older machine that I'd love, or I can at least in my mind visualize how they would improve it by doing a remake.
Well, I don't know. Do they need to improve it? They just need to have an LCD and you know, high speed. How about like Getaway 3?
Yeah, I guess they could. Yeah. Oh, well, anyway, so we're talking future when really it's only been 2 weeks since Guardians of the Galaxy was announced, and we actually got to see some footage this week.
We're not... Wait. I've got to do a new segment. There's a new segment in town.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
now,
you Okay. So anyway, you know, we're already talking about, you know, the future of, you know, machines, but you know, Stern have still got machines that they're releasing at the moment.
That's right. So, time for a new segment, and we're going to have someone on the show with us this week, but we couldn't schedule them in at the right time. So, this is going to be like a quiz show, right? I'm going to be calling it A New Age Legend Cracks Ryan's Awesome Puzzle. Is that a better... Yeah?
Go for it. Right.
What's the acronym of that? A New Age Legend Cracks Ryan's Awesome Puzzle.
Is that anal crap?
Yeah. I baited you all day because you thought I was going to do the other thing, and I did this. That was a lot of effort to make you laugh, mate.
Oh, wow. Okay. So this is a quiz show, so I'm going to be the special guest this week.
All right, what do you want? So I'm going to ask a question, and you have to buzz in. We're practicing for when we have a guest on.
Okay, so but this is it. So what's the name of the show again?
New Age Legend Cracks Ryan's Awesome Puzzle. Anal crap. Okay. So what do you want your little bazinga to be? Like, you know, when I say the question, you have to buzz in. So what do you want your buzz in call out to be?
Oh, have you got one for me?
I don't know. No, I don't. I haven't prepared this. I love Jim. What's a good roller? You love roller games. What's a good roller games call out? Off the wall.
Go for the wall.
All right, you say go for the wall when you know the answer.
Okay, cool.
All right, so I'm going to be describing a pinball machine.
Okay.
But I can't use any of the mode names or anything like that.
Okay.
And I'll give you hints if it's too hard,
okay,
and then
cool.
you have to buzz in. Okay.
Okay.
So this is a recent-ish kind of game in the last 5 years or so.
Okay.
To start multi-ball, you have to roll over rollovers in the playfield that represent 3 different characters.
Yep.
And once you when you roll over them, they spell their name, and then you shoot a ramp to start multi-ball.
Go for the wall.
Yes, Marty.
Wizard of Oz.
That's right. 1 point to you.
Thank
okay.
you.
this is just warm up, right?
Oh, okay.
So, number 2. Okay. It's a game. It's another recent game. You shoot underneath a flipper to start an alternative version of a mode that you're already in.
Go for the wall! Star Trek.
That's right. Okay. It's going to get a little bit harder now. It's going to get a little bit harder. Okay. Okay. So, you've got one ball in play. All right. There's a drop target. You hit the drop target and you lock a ball kind of behind the drop target.
Yep.
Now, another ball kicks out, and within a certain time, you need to hit that kind of drop target or that ball.
Go for the wall! Total nuclear annihilation.
No.
Okay.
You need to hit that ball, and then it turns into a 3. So it's a 2-ball multi-ball.
Go for the wall!
Yes, mate.
Star Trek.
Well, it might be. It's actually orb multi-ball in Guardians of the Galaxy. Very simple. It's exactly the it's actually exactly the same multi-ball. But okay, next one. No points there. Okay, you start the main multi-ball in the game. All right. You shoot balls into a giant head on the playfield. If you shoot a ball into the head, you get double scoring for 20 seconds.
Go for the wall!
Yes, Marty.
Metallica.
There's no head. Oh, okay, a snake head.
Snake. And you get double points. You get double scoring.
Okay.
Or the other one is Kiss.
Well, I was actually thinking of group multi-ball in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, well, there you go. Huh.
All right, well, there's one more here.
Okay.
There's actually 2 more. During multi-ball, you hit all of the shots for a super, and then you hit all of the shots again for a double super. It's a recent Stern game. So you hit all
go for the wall. I'm going to say Game of Thrones. Or Star Trek.
Okay.
Or Kiss. Or
Kiss? Okay.
or any recent Stern. Am I right?
Or Kiss, it applies to Kiss and Star Trek.
Yep.
But I was actually thinking of Guardians of the Galaxy in group multiple.
Oh, right. Okay.
Can you see what I'm trying to get at here? Okay, I got
one more. Give me one more.
Actually, I got 2 more, sorry. I'm trying to make a point here, okay? All right. There's a hidden message behind this quiz. All right. When you start the game, you kind of get to choose a mode before you plunge the ball. After you shoot one shot in the game, you can shoot a scoop and you can kind of like increase your scores in the game. Kind of like cranking up the scores or
go for the wall. Aerosmith.
Well, that applies, but I was actually thinking of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. That's a surprise. Have you got one more for me?
One more. Okay. This is a multiple choice.
Okay.
How many hexagons are there? I'm serious. I'm fucking serious here. Okay. Bro, I heard you like hexagons, so you put hexagons inside your hexagons so you can enjoy more hexagons. All right. How many hexagons are there in Guardians of the Galaxy? What's the closest amount? Because I is it closer to the number A, 37,
mm-hmm.
B, 137, or C, I don't know, 537? How many hexagons are there in Guardians of the Galaxy Pro? This is the Pro model.
A, 37.
Are you serious?
No, it's 137. It has to be. Or is it 500?
It's 530. It's close to that. I lost count at about 430.
No way.
I'm serious. It is a hexagon city. I'm not talking about just big hexagons, just little hexagons as well. I think what happened is that when they went into the licensing meeting, they said, hey, how much do the songs cost? How many, can we license this? Can we license that? And they said, look, we can give you a shape. What do you want? Do you want a circle? Do you want a square? And they said, we'll take hexagons. Can we use them as many times as we can? Done.
You can't have any songs, but you can have liberal use of these hexagons.
Well, shapes, and they chose hexagons, and I'm glad they did.
I think they look great.
They do. I'm not saying it looks bad, but it's almost like I complained about the gears in Game of Thrones where there were too many gears. There are a lot of hexagons in this pinball machine.
Okay, but besides that, hexagon aside,
yeah.
what I'm really hearing from you with that very awesome quiz, what was it called again?
Anal crap. A new age legend cracks Ryan's awesome puzzle.
Oh, thank you. What you're saying is, based on what we already sort of saw looking at the game, is that the rules are also sort of a bit borrowed.
Yeah, so we saw some footage of Guardians of the Galaxy on the weekend. Now, by the time you're listening to this podcast, tomorrow, our time in Australia, we're going to be watching the Guardians of the Galaxy official stream with Jack Danger. But it's already kind of been shown. And the footage was pretty poor because it's just people kind of like, doing God's work and streaming it for us. It's not like they're not paid for it or anything. I thought it was a pretty weird way to release the game. I would have rather kind of saw that footage a month after, because...
Yeah. Do you know, I actually had had someone message me during the week, "Hi, Matt," and he said, "Don't you think it's a little bit weird that, they're releasing this game before the stream? Surely that means that people are going to start showing video footage?" And I said, "Yeah, they probably will," and it's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I said we're complaining about it, but it's probably better than nothing. But it's not. I don't think it did them any kind of. I don't think anyone ran to their distributor and said, "That's it, I'm buying it." I mean, people will do that after the Dead Flip stream because they will show it in the best way possible. But there was, they didn't use any anti-reflective glass. I mean, they sell that stuff now, and half the footage that was shown, you couldn't see the LCD properly. You couldn't see half the playfield. I heard the Ghostbusters scream, that horrible scream in the background.
It's the shriek, yeah.
The shriek, yeah. So what did we learn, Marty?
What? Okay.
The songs?
The songs, there's 2 songs that have been released so far, and we called it, and, we either called it or they actually listened to us, which is what I'd like to think, and the one that I wanted, Cherry Bomb by the Runaways, is one of the songs.
Yeah, that was the first one in there, and apparently they just kind of got the rights to do it a couple of days before the event, so it was kind of just slapped in there. You can kind of tell when you saw that footage, it was just kind of playing all the time, and then you would hit something and it would lower the volume, and then it would just come back. And
so a couple of days before the event is about 4 days after our podcast. Just saying. Yeah.
So don't judge the pinball machine on that. Don't think they're going to be playing Cherry Bomb as the main theme all the time. It would drive you absolute bonkers. It's like they just slapped it in. They just had a placeholder and they just said, okay, put this in and fade it out when multiple happens. So hopefully they're burning the midnight oil, and when they show the machine tomorrow, it will actually be a bit more presentable than the form factor that it was in, because I think they updated it overnight, and the second song, which was Hooked on a Feeling, the Ooga Chaka song, that was in there as well.
Yeah, I'm not bothered by that one.
Okay.
So, but I've heard that there's 4 songs that are going to be in it. Is that?
I don't know.
That's what I'd heard.
I think it was just a rumor.
Gary heard us saying how he just needs to get the checkbook out and pay for these songs, and that's what he's doing. And
they blew it all on hexagons.
So what did you think about how the game played?
I think the ramps played very similar to Metallica, where you really need to hit those ramps well. It's not a Steve Ritchie ramp where you can hit the side of it and it will still go up.
Yeah.
You can't backhand them. The geometry of these 2 ramps dictate that you have to hit it with the left or the right flipper, for each alternating shot. And I saw a lot of ramp rejects. It would go halfway up the ramp, almost all the way, and then come screaming back down. So there's always a bit of frustration there. I mean, I almost totally ignore the ramps on my Metallica at the moment because I'm scared of when the ball comes down, because it's almost like an immediate drain on my machine.
Yeah.
It is extremely fast. I mean, Stern just keep on making machines that play like lightning. Like, it makes Metallica look slow. And that was kind of like out of the box. I mean, I'm sure people can set it up even faster.
Yeah.
What else? We had a little footage, and we had a little tongue-in-cheek video on our Facebook page of the magnet from multi-ball throwing the ball down the side. Yeah, that happens in pinball. That'll happen on any magnet pinball. So we're not being serious about the whole video. It was just a bit funny. What else we got? We saw the interactive topper. Well, not in works, but we saw a picture of it. The baby Groot shooter knob handle thingy, the side rails, and I'm not sure about you, Money, but the Pro dressed up looks like $1 million. It looks.
It's not bad, is it?
It looks better. You can't say, I'm not sure who would say it looks better than the LE. If you spend a couple $100 or is it $1,000 maybe in Australia dressing up the Pro, that's an LE. That's,
It's not bad, is it?
Yeah, it looks good.
Look, it's we love the art. The art looks good. It's a very pretty machine. It's a very fast machine. The code seemed a little light on at this stage, but it's obviously early code. I mean,
it's always early code, Marty.
It's always early code. But so, okay. So when we first saw the pictures of it, I sort of said it was Iron Man. You said it looked like Metallica, and most people agreed with me.
Sure.
By most people, I mean not really. So, Fun with Bonus did put a poll up on the funwithbonus.com website, and it was, which one did you think it most looked like? And 18% of people said Iron Man, and 82% of people said Metallica. So, There you go. Everyone agrees. Now, so I was expecting it to just play like either one of those. And we were watching it at the same time, and we were sort of, swapping comments between each other. And I just had this moment, and I know it sort of sounds a bit of mixed messages, but I don't really like to compare machines with old machines. I like to treat them as new experiences. But when I was watching this play, I just kept thinking to myself, scared stiff. The way the ball was interacting and moving around, and because the main video footage I saw was almost like a flipper cam when it was right down low, so you were looking at the playfield very down low. It reminded me a lot of Scared Stiff.
In what way? Like
in geometry, but just where the person was hitting their shots. It felt like the right ramp was at the same location in Scared Stiff, and the left ramp the same, and the way the ball moved around the middle playfield, you've got the crate up the back, right? It just kind of reminded me of how that game would play. Now, they're not going to, and, I'm probably putting thoughts where there really aren't any, but I watched that video footage for a long time, and I just kept being reminded of Scared Stiff for some reason.
Yeah, maybe you look at machines in a different way than I look at them, because maybe I look at them from a software perspective and a sound perspective more than you do. Maybe you're more of a hardware guy and I'm more software, because I couldn't, nothing blew me away because the modes are timed exactly like Aerosmith. I feel like they got the Aerosmith code, right? They copied and they pasted it, and then they just started modifying it. And hey, maybe they do almost every game like this, because why would you start with a base and
you got a formula, right?
But Lonnie is the mode. It's exactly the same. Before you plunge the ball, you're presented with all of your modes, just like Aerosmith.
Yep.
They have a character to choose from, but it's not a character that has perks. The character just represents kind of that scene. You choose the mode, you hit one shot, you hit the upgrade scoop, which is the crank it up scoop in Aerosmith. That increases your scores and increases the amount of time that you have to complete the mode. If you don't complete the mode in that time, then you hit the scoop again and you start another mode / song in Aerosmith. It is exactly the same mode rules as Aerosmith. If you go into all the modes, you start a mini wizard mode. If you finish all the modes, you start the major wizard mode, exactly like Aerosmith. And as we didn't, I was trying to convey in my little quiz before, all multi-ball is Vengeance multi-ball on Star Trek, which is coded by Lonnie. And then the main multi-ball, group multi-ball, has the same rules as KISS. Where you kind of hitting shots, and then you when you hit enough shots, you get the super, and then you're gonna get the double super, and you can lock a ball in the head for 20 seconds. Your score is doubled, which was kind of taken. That's kind of like a Lyman stolen feature, so to speak. So I wasn't. It's hard. I'm not in the market for a new game, but I still want to play the game. I still am excited to play the game, but I feel like it'll be almost too easy to understand everything. I like that discovery, right? I like that, like, oh, what's this do? And then figuring it out, 20, 30 games in, like, oh, I get it. If you do this, this is going to happen. Whereas I feel like I already know this machine.
And that was my biggest criticism of Aerosmith. I've got to say, I'm a big fan of Aerosmith. I think that plays really well. My biggest problem with it was I didn't find it complicated enough. I understood modes, mini wizard mode, complete your modes, major wizard mode. That's kind of it. I wanted a little bit more complexity in it.
Yeah, and I mean, I like games that are like that. I like Tron. That's almost exactly the same thing, Sieve Simulation and Portal. But like that game is what is it, like almost 5 years old now. Yeah, I wouldn't buy, if I had Aerosmith, if I had Kiss, I wouldn't buy Aerosmith. If I had Metallica, would I buy Guardians of the Galaxy? Like how much repeated kind of software and rules can you have in the same collection? If you're Rhoda Dave and you have, actually, he's got 120 plus pins. He said he sold Kiss to get Aerosmith. So if he's doing that, then what chance do people with like a 5-10 pin collection have of having those two machines? Are Stern competing against themselves right now because they're releasing?
Well, I mean, who knows what the growth of the market is with new players coming on board. And, as much as, I've always said that I think Metallica is Stern's best game ever. It's not my favourite of their game. Star Trek's obviously my favourite, but I think it is their best game from a balance of rules, art, sound, theme integration, the
toys,
the X factor. I think it is fantastic. But there are a lot of people that don't like Metallica. And I've spoken to a lot of people that have said, yeah, but I just wouldn't buy it because I don't like the theme. So
you got to rise above the theme, baby. You got to rise above the theme.
And look, fortunately for me, I'm a fan of Metallica, so I really do like the theme. But I could imagine that there are people that sort of missed out on the Metallica moment. They still would play it in comps and on location, but with a new current theme like Guardians of the Galaxy, maybe that is enough to spark new money.
But that's what I mean. Like Metallica, I think is still on the line. So as I said, are they competing against themselves? Because it's kind of like, well, here are 3 pins that are really similar. Choose. Are they trying to do a catch-all? Like, we're going to catch the entire market with one of these 3 pins, right?
Maybe.
Because I don't like Metallica. I'm warming up to them now that I have the pinball machine. But I bought the machine.
How long have you had that machine?
6 months or so. When I first got the machine, I would play the same song every time because it's the only one that I could handle. But now I'm finally, I like Metallica music a little bit more. I would never go on Spotify and put Metallica when I'm driving. Like I'm not that kind of person. But I will listen to their music while I play the pinball machine. I won't put headphones on and play Lady Gaga or something like that. I don't no idea why I said Lady Gaga. I'm not a Lady Gaga fan. Marty, just to prove that I am a hypocrite, right? Because I'm saying, I don't like that they're kind of like recycling things. The 2 most widely and critically acclaimed pinball machines of all time, what are they?
Oh, God, depends on who you speak to. Let's say...
The pin side.
Oh, on the pin side.
The pin sides.
I would say Monster Bash.
No, it's written in the show notes. I'm just trying to get you involved in the conversation. It's Attack from Mars and Medieval Madness.
I know. I knew that. I was just trying to make it sound like I wasn't reading the show notes, but keep going. Yeah, so they are Attack from Mars and Medieval Madness.
Fail. Anyway, so these machines, both programmed by Lyman Sheets, both designed by Brian Eddy. The layout is extremely similar. The code base is exactly the same. You're shooting, saving the cities, right? Saving the cities.
I have never, ever, and I have played those 2 games a phenomenal amount. I have never thought either of those 2 games are remotely similar.
But they are.
No,
The lock shot is in the same location. The sharp middle.
I get what you're saying.
2 ramps.
I would totally agree with you now that you've said that. But not until right now, I swear to you, right now, this moment, have I ever thought those two machines were remotely similar.
Okay. I know people that have owned both and got rid of one of them because they said I can't have both in my collection because they're too similar. It's the same game. Choose one that you want, get rid of the other one, and spend that $10,000 on something else.
Okay. I mean, I can understand logically that people would say that. I still play them regularly a lot, and I never see any similarity between them. I've never seen any similarity between them.
It sounds like you're just talking yourself into buying a Guardians of the Galaxy party.
I'm a bit cool on it at the moment. I still do want it. I obviously need to see how it plays. I'm very keen to see the Dead Flip stream tomorrow or today, whenever you're listening to this podcast. For me, it's now going to be rules, because if it is as deep as Aerosmith,
is Aerosmith deep?
No, that's what I mean. So if it's if it's as deep as Aerosmith, maybe not. I need a little bit more.
Lonnie makes good games.
Yep.
For beginners, but there never is that. We talked about it before. That kind of extra sauce on top that brings it all together. That someone like Lyman Sheets
I was
does.
Going to say the Lyman sauce. Give us some of your sauce, Lyman.
Oh no. Oh, I hope he's not listening. Batman 66, right? That was.
Oh, here we go.
That was meant to be the definition of a copy, paste, and modify.
Yep.
Now that machine definitely doesn't play anything like the original, and the software is totally different.
Yep.
Right. And as I've discovered this week, people that own this machine really they have faith in Lyman, and they're waiting for it, and they're getting happy because the code is coming, and their lips are salivating, they're licking their lips, and they're like, what's going to be like, what's coming next? The risk reward thing is there. Like, do you cash in your super jackpot finishing the episode, or do you keep on going and going and going and then risk losing it all? That's an exciting moment about pinball.
Yep.
Now, I was bored this week, and we're not going to play this, right? Because Marty has vetoed me. But basically, yeah, you're acting all nice now.
What were my exact words?
Not really. That's what you wrote here. Well, what did you say? We don't want to head down the plucker.
I said it's a slippery slope to cash cow or pluck a duck.
I was bored, and a friend suggested it. Like we were listening to a podcast together, and it was with the creators of Rick and Morty, and they prank called someone. It was hilarious. He's like, "You should do a prank call." And the next day, I was like, "Oh my god, what would I do if I was to do a prank call?" So I rang a couple of people that had Batman 66, and basically, I tried to convince them to sell it to me for an exorbitant amount of money, and both of them didn't do it. Marty doesn't think it's funny enough and thinks it's too trashy. I will try and upload it separately, and I will link it maybe in the show notes. So
you can do that.
Part of the official thing. And if you like it, if you get a laugh out of it, it's 6 minutes long. I just put one of them up. Just email us in and let me know again that Marty is wrong, because Ryan. It's the common recurring theme on this podcast, right?
Right. Anyway. So your point of what you're saying with that very cheap attempt at getting our ratings improved is that these people don't want to let go of their Batman 66s.
Yeah, because it's unique enough now in the market, and it kind of moves on to the next topic we want to kind of talk about, like what is the current market situation right now, right? Let's rewind back maybe 2 years ago. People were salivating for pinball machines, and they were buying everything.
Anything.
Yeah, Ghostbusters
Predator.
LE. Boom, anything. Oh gosh, it was a year ago. It was only a year ago that Batman sold out without even showing it. Right now, I don't even know of a title or something that could happen. It seems like that is now lost, right? Like, do you feel that? Like, there is.
I do. The only exception I make, and I know that there's some controversy around it as well, but Iron Maiden for me,
such a small amount of people though. That would literally
to all 10 people that want this machine.
Exactly. If they said 100 LEs, sure, 15 grand sold out tomorrow. If they say 500, I just don't know. Let's see what happens when it comes out. But there's so much choice right now in the market, right? You got Pirates of the Caribbean, Total Nuclear Annihilation. You got all the boutique manufacturers. You got Stern pumping out 3 cornerstone titles a year, plus one of their vaults, or maybe two of them, or a retheme or something. Throw in the Kapow titles. People, I think, what do they want? What do people want? Do they want unique games? Do they want something different? Do they want more of the same, like Guardians of the Galaxy, but just kind of, with a different theme? What do you think, Marty?
It's a hard one to say, because there's so many subsets of people within this whole hobby. So there are the collectors that will just buy anything that comes along. There are also the collectors that have a finite amount of space and machines need to come in and come out. There are people that are new. There are people that only play on location. What do people want? People want to not be bored by pinball. And I know that's a weird thing to say, but what I'm saying is that I don't think people want pinball to get stale, and every person has a different length of time until something comes stale. So I'll ask you, Ryan, why do you have so many pinball machines in your collection?
I think I've struggled right now to let any of them go, because each one of them has a unique flavor, and I feel like I can't. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Doctor Who, go back a year ago, I would have had that machine for 2 weeks, said this machine sucks, and I would have sold it. But now there's no machine that's anything like Doctor Who, right? There's no machine that's anything like Demo Man or Shadow, all these other machines that I've bought. So they make me happy when I play them, and I can't get that level of happiness from any other machine. Like, it's a different happiness on another machine. If a machine is too samey for me, right? That's why I think I've got 2 Steve Ritchie games. Yep. If I had 7 Steve Ritchie games in my 15 game collection at home, I'd sell 5 Steve Ritchie games, because right. It's a bit.
So I think you're touching on what I'm saying, and that people want variety. They want new experiences, and I think after a while, a couple of machines, or even 10 to 20 machines can become a bit stale. Why does Rotor Dave have 125 machines? Well, one, because
he can.
He built a house that has room for 100 pinball machines. So I think he felt obliged to fill it up. But I think that it is. I think that just invariably we want new experiences, and we want things to feel fresh. And so it comes back to your point about the current Stern experience. Are they keeping it fresh?
I don't think they're keeping it fresh per se for almost all their games, but
is it enough?
Well, as I said, Total Nuclear Annihilation, right? That's fresh, very fresh.
Yep.
Not hardly anyone has anything bad to say about it, right?
Yep.
The people that have bad stuff to say are like, I reckon that'll get boring after 6 months when you play it by yourself. That's the only thing people have bad to say about it. Does that translate to sales? They've only sold 200 or so of them, which for Spooky is very good. Yep. But if Stern sold 200 of something, they would shoot themselves in the foot, right?
Yep.
Like,
yep.
So what do people want? People want a new experience, plus they want that nostalgia factor. I don't know. Are people rushing out and buying Pirates of the Caribbean? It's quite expensive. It's extremely new. There's nothing borrowed on that. We've touched on that before as well.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really hear those sales numbers, and this is kind of it with Stern, right? So Stern, I would say Stern are very clever people. They have been in this industry for a very, very long time, and there's really good, clever people in that company. Cleverer than I am. Maybe not as clever as you, because you've got your own game show now.
Oh,
but
gosh.
God, anal crap. But they're clever people. So have they worked out that really all you need to do is give 10 to 15% newness to a machine, and that's enough to sustain the industry? They don't need to do anything more than that.
Sure. I think Stern has the advantage of having a market position where they can constantly test out different things. And I think we saw it with Batman. When they released Batman 66, I just have the feeling that they were like, let's see how much we can get away with. Like with I'd say it sounds horrible, but like with the Super LE, what price should we put on it? All it's got is different decals, and we're going to limit it to a very small amount. You know, it could have been.
It's got the bat signal.
It's got the bat sure, the out of focus bat signal. 12. Why 12? You know, why 15? Why couldn't it have been 11, 12, or 13? Because they said it's only 30 people. Let's see what market. This is uncharted territory.
Yep.
And they got such a response from it. They said 30. Let's make up some bullcrap thing and let's do 80, right? And let's make a pro and call it a premium, and then charge more for the premium than the normal premium. The premium will be the LE, and they kind of got away with it. I said, I mean, they haven't finished the pin yet, so it's still kind of like, you know, are those people going to buy super LEs and more expensive LEs and premiums again? But I think that they can do this kind of copy and paste thing because they have a market position. They've got the themes, they've got the licenses, they've got the manufacturing power to pump out a machine like it's Guardians of the Galaxy. People aren't even getting it for Christmas. No one's getting Pirates of the Caribbean for Christmas, are they?
Well, they aren't, because it's not out till next year. But it comes back to it. I know that I made this comment when Gary Stern did that presentation at Expo.
Cash.
That's right. Beers plus cash equals money. Where I said that sounds great, and these guys really, I think they make good decisions for the company. I genuinely do. And these decisions are like the decisions that have been made in the boardroom. Like that whole Batman 66 to me sounds like it was in the boardroom. They've gone, right, we've got to appease whatever it is, our accountants or our shareholder, whoever it is. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to do this machine, and we're going to see what we can get away with. That's great. And when I look at Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's there, it's a machine. The art is beautiful. So, Christopher Franchi, we haven't said enough. Your vomit is awesome, but that looks great. The machine, the design of the machine, and now the rules that we're talking about. Where's the passion? Where's that excitement? Where's that stuff where they're trying to make us they're trying to make us feel emotionally amazing?
Do they have the time to do that?
There you go.
That's going to be the key, right?
Because they have set themselves up having to release 3 games a year. So therefore, they've got these timelines that are forever pressing them. Maybe they just don't have the time. Or maybe that's why they can say, well, here's the code, but at a later stage, when we take Lyman sheets off Batman 66, we can give you this polish at the end that takes it to a whole new level. But the base game is there.
As I said, it's. I think if you're buying a Stern machine at the moment, you have to be a pretty patient person. I mean, it depends on your skill level as well. I mean, we're talking about all this stuff on, with our views as people that play a lot of pinball. You play a lot in tournaments. You're always thinking about scoring strategies. I play a lot at home, but I still want that kind of that code, that deep code level. A lot of people don't care about the stuff that we care about. I mean, there's some people that will enjoy the most simple game ever, and it could be as shallow as anything. Like I could never own Scared Stiff again because or even Totem. I played Totem on the weekend, and I've told you that I've wanted this game, right? Totem and Cactus Canyon are the only 2 kind of Bailey Williams games that I haven't checked off my list as owning them. And I don't know why I wanted a Totem. I think it's mainly because I know my wife would love it. It's
Tales
pretty.
of the Arabian Nights, I believe.
Yes, Tales of the Arabian Nights. Now, every time I play the game and someone's next to me, I'm like, tell me what to shoot for. And everyone's like, oh, just bash your genie. And like, they don't. Yesterday, right, when I was playing that beautiful Totem, right, all done up, brand new play field, gold everywhere, someone actually properly told me what to do, and he got me all the way to wizard mode, and then I was like,
that's it.
What do I do now? He's like, you just do it all again. I'm like, does it get harder the second time? Is it this, is that? He's like, no, that's the game. And I was like, wow, I do not want this game anymore. I need a little bit more depth.
You're going to be disappointed with Cactus Canyon then. Oof.
Well, I offered someone Wizard of Oz as a temporary swap for Cactus Canyon, and he said maybe. So we'll see how we go with that.
Well, it'll be a quick swap.
Okay.
I like Cactus Canyon. I like the layout, but again, rules-wise, it's not that deep.
If it's cheesy enough, then it can almost sustain like average rules, right? But like nothing is cheesy in tone. It's like this like serious Aladdin. Like if it was actually Aladdin, I would play that non-stop in a loop because I love Aladdin. But it's not. It's an unoriginal kind of like it's a new theme, a fake Aladdin kind of thing. Anyway,
it looks great though.
But I'll hang a picture on a wall if I wanted something nice to look at.
Fair enough.
Place me exciting. Anyway.
Yeah, but how many people have Totan as their grail machine? Like, they just love that machine more than anything. So it connects with people.
Sure. Yeah. I said there is an Aladdin thing. They're pretending that it's Aladdin. They're pretending that.
But I also don't. Not everybody has the ability to get to the wizard mode and go, that's it. What next? Some people are probably still trying to get there.
There was no tilt bob on this machine, so I may have been shaking it around a little bit. Okay. I said we're going around in circles. I'm going to quickly read a Pinside post from Rare Hero, which kind of sums up what we've been talking about. Because if you go on Pinside and you trawl, all these threads, eventually you're going to find someone who kind of sums it up better than I could ever do. This is what he says. I think it's already been stated, after AC/DC LE and Tron LE went sky high, that's when people, including myself, had a why not attitude to LE pinball purchases. It always seemed to be a no-lose situation. Worst comes to worst, you break even. This is when we saw all the noobs spring into existence. Skip B, Dutch, Highway, and Stern and JJP doubling down on their prices because of the collectors, in inverted commas, and speculators would still bite. We're past that now. The noobs have crashed and burned, and new games are still priced high, yet not beloved like AC/DC and Tron were. Plus QC and code issues plague new games. Collectors have lost their I gotta have it mentality. Speculators have dropped off since flipping for a profit isn't a sure bet. So we're left with, are these games really worth it? Previous new inbox buyers like me are now saying no. And that sums up what we've been waffling on about for the last half an hour. Is the market has shifted, and I've talked about it in previous episodes where why do I buy LEs? It's because everyone believes in the whole LE hype, and I don't necessarily believe in it, but I feel like my money is safer buying the LE because everyone else believes it, not me. So if everyone stops believing that LEs are worth it, then I'm screwed because I'm very top heavy with my collection. Because to me, a premium is an LE with just different art, and I don't care about the backlash. I mean, the backlash, it's almost a liability. How many old games, like when I bought my Sea Witch, I was like sweating, like is the backlash going to be good? Like these things cost like $300-$400. Yes, and they have to get shit. What if it cracks? A translite's just a translite. It might look a little bit better, but.
Well, you're lucky that the LEs that you've got are back when LEs were revered, and they still are. I mean, if you look at an AC/DC Back in Black, they go for a lot of money. A Lucy goes for a lot of money. A Tron LE goes for a lot of money. I don't know what our Star Trek LE is going to look like, but back then
I could sell because yours for $12,000 tomorrow, mate. If you want.
Say it again.
I could sell yours for $12,000 tomorrow if you want.
Really?
Yeah, I have a friend that bought one recently for close to that, and it wasn't homey. So,
if anyone's interested, it's got less than 500 games on it, which is a true story. But that was back when the whole value for money kind of was there. And look, I know we'll talk about Star Trek again, but really the difference is you've got, the mirrored back glass, you've got the lasers up the side, and what else am I missing over the premium?
Gary Stern signature.
Gary Stern signature. But how many times have you had somebody look at your Star Trek and see the lasers and go, "Oh, holy crap, that's cool"?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a Metallica LE. That's my only one that I have that I feel like I could easily have the premium, and I wouldn't care. But the Tron Pro can be done up like an LE, but the LE is what people were copying, right? So that makes me feel a little bit special. Maybe they should start making these LEs more special. But I feel like, as I said, Stern's got the market position now where they don't feel like they need to, and they can kind of really use their market power to see what they can get away with, where other companies can't, right? If they have a failed LE, then
that's right. So, case in point, Star Wars. If Star Wars, just as simple, I know it sounds simple, if they had lit up side rails, that would have been enough for people to say, my LE is special, therefore it's worth it.
You know how we were talking about the whole Guardians of the Galaxy thing? Like, are they slow leaking information so people think like they're heroes? Like, oh my gosh, there's 2 songs. Well, they might have been planning it all along.
Yep.
I was convinced that when Star Wars came out, those rails were lighted, right? And when you go around the Hyperloop, your whole room, right, would light up because there'd be light coming out the playfield, there'd be light shooting out both sides. The back box would be going off like freaking crazy. Bam, bam, bam. Like it would just be the coolest light show in history. And none of that happened. Right?
I was going to say, and how do you feel about that now?
Well, I thought at least at minimum, right, when I learned that there's no side rails, the back box, like when the ball's going around the hyperdrive thing, like why not, maybe because it's really distracting, but why not flash those lights in the back box? Just pulse them. It's not a fluor anymore. It's there's like LEDs on the side of the spike board, so they can pulsate them. I don't know. Maybe they'll sell it as an add-on for $500 or something.
But that's sort of the point I'm making, is that the recent limited edition machines have so little over the premium now that they're just not special, and that's I think the problem now is, and it's not the whole LE market. It's obviously just recent limited edition, because the older ones still get good dollars because, and actually, there was only 300 of them, so that made them rare as well. But they were special machines, and therefore they had a special price. Whereas now they've got a special price, but not as special as they should be.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, as I said, Guardians of the Galaxy has a lot. People wanted good artwork after Star Wars. They got it. They wanted cool toys. They got it. Yep. They got the nice sculpted, non-Walmart, toy.
Yep.
People are still going to complain because I guess once you tick off enough boxes, everyone looks to the other. Well, what did they not do? So, this is what we do when we got a pinball podcast. I don't have Guardians of the Galaxy, so until it comes out, we can just talk about what we've seen. So
that's enough on that. But we do need to now announce the winner of our Rotodave System 11 competition, and we did get a lot of entries, which was fantastic. It was a hard comp. Rotodave said it was going to be a hard comp, and it was. And for those that want to be reminded, he played 10 sounds from System 11 machines, and you had to guess all 10, or as close to 10. And this is what the sounds were. So there you go. So I think I maybe got a 5 or 6, I think, when I listened to it the first time. How did we go, Ryan?
Well, I got 3. So the winning entry was from the Slam Tilt podcast. Oh. It was Bruce, but because he emailed from the Slam Tilt email, I think Dave needs to buy Bruce and Ron a beer. So it's a double up on that one. And the answers were 1, Swords of Fury, 2, Roller Games, 3, Bad Cats, 4, Road Kings, 3, Earthshaker, 5 Earthshaker, 6, I told you I'm dyslexic, 6, Transporter, The Rescue, 7, Millionaire, amazing game, 8, F-14 Tomcat, 9, Black Knight 2000, and 10, Taxi. Bruce managed to get 8 of them right. He missed out on 2 of them, I think it was, Marty.
Yeah, Road Kings and Taxi. He put in, I think, Mountain Around and Cyclone. They were not right, I'm afraid. But 8 was the best that we got. So thank you for everybody for writing in with all your answers. And what this means is that when Rhoda Dave is seeing you next, he owes you and Ron a beer.
And not a cheap beer as well, like the best beer on the tab.
And according to his daughter Danny, that's a very good price. So what time is it?
This Week in Pinball, sponsored by Jeff from This Week in Pinball, but he gives us no money. No.
So what did we do?
What did we do? We played a bit of Dialed In last night, Marty.
We did play Dialed In with 1.50 code.
What did you think, Marty?
I don't like it.
You keep on saying it, but you won't really. This is your explanation. Well, I just don't really, like connect. I just, you know what? Star Wars is better.
Oh, I never said that.
Yeah, I've got proof you got on the street.
I did actually say that. Okay, look, I tell you what it is. I don't like the flipper feel on this game. I find it a bit soft. I prefer really powerful flippers.
Okay.
Like when you're getting that left ramp, right? That ramp is pretty close. That ball never sort of flies through that ramp. It sort of just manages to get up there and come around. It's not the kind of fast, flowy game that I like.
This is the thing. We were playing Andy's Dialed In. He admitted that he updated to 1.5 and hadn't touched it. He hadn't, kind of tweaked anything since he kind of installed the Cliffies or the JJP versions of the Cliffies, which we'll get to in a second. So the Dialed In wasn't very dialed in, right?
Yeah.
With Wizard of Oz and Hobbit, you can adjust the flipper strength so hard that that steel ball will smash through any toy or ramp and just shatter it to a million pieces. The option is there. Whether or not you can do that on Dialed In and the ball still stays in control when you hit the ramps, because I was noticing stuff as well. Like when you hit a really good shot on that left ramp you're talking about, sometimes when it hits it goes all the way through and about to drop into the in lane, it would do this bounce thing where it would bounce, it would go up, and then it would come back down. And that sets off my OCD like crazy. Guys know how to make ramps for like 50 years. Not 50 years. How long have ramps been around for?
A long
30
time.
plus years. Enough that you know how to make the ball drop directly down and not bounce all the way back up, right?
Yep.
I don't know. I know that's not what you don't like about the machine, but if that's the only thing you don't like about it, we need to get this in, someone who's OCD enough to really dial in.
Yeah, I would like that. For me, the flippers felt just a bit spongy, and I never really it didn't have that sort of snappiness that I get from like even Hobbit or Wizard of Oz. It just, as I said, it just felt
okay. What did you do to Hobbit when you got it? You cranked it up to like 7 point something, right?
The angle of the machine? No,
yes.
6.5.
No,
it's 6.5.
I thought I had this conversation with you. Mine's at like 7.2 and it plays amazing. I did the same thing. No,
yeah, no.
Must be doing with somebody else.
No, my Hobbit is pretty stock. The only thing that's different is I've taken out the center post, but it's at 6.5 inclination, and I've not changed anything to do with flipper strength or anything to do with the machine.
Okay. I think Hobbit plays horribly at 6.5. I think Wizard of Oz is horrible at 6.5. I think they're too slow and floaty, whereas if you increase the pitch, it does wonders to the machine. And I think Dialed In is one of those games that if you increase the pitch, I think it can be this amazing experience. But I did it yesterday. I increased it a little bit because I couldn't handle how slow it was playing. But as I said, we got a million. The JJ, if anyone is buying a pinball machine, a dialed in, those scoop protectors that come pre-installed, or maybe you have to install them yourself, depending when you bought the machine, they're absolute junk. Horrible.
How many
Sorry,
times?
I have to say it.
How many times did we get a reject from the scoop?
You get a reject. The better you hit the shot, the more likely it's going to pop out. Because the geometry, it just isn't right. It just doesn't. It's like that makes the hole too small. I don't know. And the annoying part, as I said, we give Stern a lot of shit for their QC issues. So JTP is big enough now that we can put the blowtorch on them a little bit. They had so long, right? Part of the reason they said they announced the machine and it's going to be shipping in the second quarter of 2017 was they said they wanted to put it out in public, check out all the issues with it and fine tune it and tweak it. That may be so, but then why did they all ship without the screw protectors, and then all the early adopters had issues in shipping, and then they kind of rushed to make this protector, and the protector sucks. I don't know. I know I'm sounding like making pinball is really easy, but I don't know. Everyone's is buying Cliffy protectors because the scoop is the game. The scoop is where it's the phone. Integral. It's where you start multi-ball. It's everything. And if 9 out of every 10 shots is rejecting, it was rejecting
nearly every shot. It was really frustrating. I mean, when we got the ball into the scoop, into the phone, we cheered every time because it was so rare.
Yeah, I mean, and I said, and when it went in, it was usually bouncing off something and slowly trickling in there. It wasn't all the shots that we were actually making. So, I think Andy is going to buy the Cliffy protectors, and they're not even on his website. And he's so backlogged with them because everyone that has it dialed in is ordering. He doesn't even have it on his website. You have to email Cliffy direct, and yeah, everyone needs to do that. That's getting it dialed in, because I almost feel sorry, because I don't think Jersey Jack. I don't know, are they going to make a different version and fix the issue? Like, every JJP game that is bought and that is on site, people are going to get this impression of the game. Oh my gosh, I can't hit the scoop. This game sucks. But it doesn't suck. Well, to me it doesn't.
No, and look, I don't think it sucks. I don't think it's a bad game. I'm just really, as I said, I'm not connected to it, and it's because I find it just a bit sort of slow and spongy and a little bit floaty sometimes. And if you can actually, dare I say, dial it in, then I probably will enjoy it. That scoop was just the icing on the cake for how much I wasn't enjoying it last night.
Yeah, I mean, Andy kind of saw me kind of obsessing over it, because I still had fun even with the crappy scoop, and he kind of said, maybe we do need to do a swap, and you need this machine because you're so obsessed with it. And he said, what would I take what would I take in return? And I'm like, I have nothing that you want. Like, his collection is so big and wonderful with all the stuff that he has. Like, I'm like, Tron, and he's like, no way, that's boring. And he's like, maybe AC/DC. Nah, it's Stern. I don't buy Sterns anymore. I've got nothing. I've got to buy a machine so he can swap with Dalton. Anyway.
But also last night was the second round of Pie Face Pinball.
What is Pie Face Pinball, Money?
Well, Pie Face Pinball is a combination of two fantastic games. One being pinball, the other being Pie Face.
Yes. So Pie Face is almost like Russian roulette for kids, and replace a gun with a. Oh gosh, that's a horrible way of explaining it. With some whipped cream to the face. So it's like someone's splashing on the face with a pie. Basically, it's a variable amount of time that you click this thing forward. So we the way we play it is we play a 4-player game. The person who comes first is out of it. He doesn't need to subject himself to that. The person who comes second is 1 click. The person who comes third is 2 clicks, and the person who comes last is 4 clicks. Almost like a reverse match play point system. Yeah. So you came third. I
came third, so I had 2 clicks.
And you survived.
I survived. So how it went, the person that came last got 4 clicks, and they did their 4 clicks and didn't get pie in their face. I then had my 2 clicks, and I didn't get pie in my face. And then it came down to the person that came second and had 1 click, and this was our good friend of the show, Jared Mendoza from Facebook fame. He had 1 click, One click, and then it would go back to the other person that had 4 clicks. Oh, Jared.
He got splashed in the face.
He got splashed in the face.
It's great. I was so upset. I totally lost track of time because we were all having fun. And I thought we would go for another round and another round. And you literally made the Pie Face game start, what was it, 30 minutes before the stream ended. It was a 30-minute 4-player game. So we only had time for one.
Yeah. But it's still fun. So if you just want to mix up your game, you can either get the card game, or you can get Pie Face Pinball, and it's very, very funny. So do it. Watch the Melbourne Silverball League stream from last night, the 19th, and you'll see what it's all about. You can just watch the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, I'll link in the show. We were playing horribly to begin with, and just quickly about Dialed In 1.5. I loved it. I was noticing so many things, including music that I was smiling about, and you were like, well, big deal. Even when you start multi-ball, like the old call-out was, now you're dialed in, but now it's, now you're dialed in. And I was like, yes, that's amazing. I like little things like that. A lot of new music, a lot of light shows. There still is a lot to come in that pinball machine. I can't wait to play it as it develops. It is code complete, but there's little animations and stuff they're adding in. High voltage multi-ball, when you hit the jackpot, light show is amazing. The whole thing turns white and red like an electric bolt going off. So that's Dialed In.
So what happened in your week of pinball on your own?
Okay, well, this is a developing story. My wife said, what do you want to do for your birthday? I said, whatever, it's up to you. I planned your kind of day on your birthday. You planned mine. She's like, okay, we're going to go out. This is this week, actually. She said, we're going to do it early. Someone's coming over to look after the kids, so it's the only time we can do it. Basically, she said, we're going to go out. We're going to go to the dinner in this nice restaurant in the city. Around the corner, there's a pinball place. We can play pinball. And I'm like, there's a pinball place? I wonder what she's talking about. I can't remember the name of it. And there's 2 machines there. I'll play pinball with you, right? I'm like, okay, what are these 2 machines? Said 1, Harley Davidson. I was like, oh, okay. 2, the Rolling Frickin' Stones, baby.
Seriously?
I can't. It's some place in this. I can't remember what it's called. It starts with L or something. So I'm hoping that I go there and I finally get to play this turd that you've been like just bashing for the last 17 episodes about how bad this game is.
You just wait.
I'm gonna pump money out to this turd.
How right I am. Rolling Stones by Stern is the worst game ever made. You're going to find out.
We'll see. We'll see next week.
Okay.
Did I get a new game in the house this week? I got Shrek. Did you know that? Well, I've got a Family Guy here, so I updated it to Shrek.
You put the Shrek code in there.
Oh my god, it was hilarious. I was just like, Family Guy is leaving. The guy who I did the swap with sold the pinball machine, so it's going tomorrow, actually. So I've been playing it a lot to kind of say my goodbyes, because I don't think I'm going to be buying the machine anytime soon. I remember someone telling me that you could put this Shrek is exactly the same game. They made, they ordered parts for 1,000 Family Guys. They were struggling with sales. They said, let's cap it at 500, and then we'll retheme this pinball machine to something else, which happened to be Shrek. And everything will be the same layouts, the same kind of modes. We'll just rename them and do all the dots again and get call-outs. It's a lot of effort to sell another 500 machines. Yeah. Apparently that's the number, 500 and 500. So pretty rare machine. And it was, when I updated the code and I turned it on, I'm not sure. I think you've saw the video, because our mate Andy was over and he was taping me. I was laughing my ass off because, instead of Stewie turning around and talking to you, it's Donkey, who is like an Eddie Murphy, like an impersonator, I guess. And he, this little white baby talks around. It's like, what you talking about? It's hilarious. I don't know. I think it's hard to judge Shrek, when you're looking at Family Guy, but the sounds, it feels really rushed. Like the sounds on Family Guy seem like they've got a bit more love compared to Shrek. Have you played Shrek much, Marty?
Yeah, I have played both, and I've always said that I much prefer the Family Guy theme, and I actually like the call out and the humour in Family Guy, but I just remember when I played Shrek that the call-outs were more integrated into the game. They actually sort of called out what you were meant to do rather than just being random call-outs from the movies.
Yeah, I mean, I probably played like 20 games on it or something. I did, I've almost already erased it from my memory. But one of the bits which kind of really annoyed me is after you finish playing Donkey's Pinball, aka Stewie's Pinball, Donkey turns around and he says something to you. And he said this like hilarious thing, or I'm not sure if you know the call out, where it was like, man, this isn't really a pinball machine. They got to put a couple more ramps, some spinners, some bumpers. And it was hilarious because it was almost like Eddie Murphy telling me a pinball joke. And I found it, quite funny. And then I got it up there again and the exact same call out happened. And I was like, okay, I've heard this. Skip. And you can't skip. You can't skip it. So you've got to listen to 15 seconds of the exact same thing. And it's not the same call every single time. I think I was just unlucky to get it kind of like 2 times in one game. I don't know. I don't think I'm ever going to buy Shrek. And, the kids love the Shrek movies. I love Shrek movies. I think they're hilarious. But yeah, not one machine that I'm going to be adding. I don't mind Family Guy. I will never say that it's a bad game, but I'll never say that it's an absolute amazing game.
Yeah, I agree. I've always found the layouts a bit awkward.
If they remove that mini pinball machine and replace it with some other stuff, I mean, Pat Lawler, his machines are amazing, the way they feel. There's shots that lead into other shots. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I've been doing. The other stuff I've been doing is repairs. I know you love talking about repairing.
Oh, tell me all about your repairs, baby.
Those 3 machines that I donated for PAX, sitting there doing absolutely nothing because, as I told you, they got over 1,000 plays each, and 1,000 plays on a pinball machine, something's going to break. I mean, if it made $2,000 each, then I'd be gung ho like, hey, let's get them back out there, and no, these got played 2,000 times. They're on free play. 1,000 times each. So I'll start with Demo Man. There was a line on the DMD out, which was easy to fix. That's to kind of like push a pin back in. There's a couple of LED lights out, easy fix. 2 switches weren't working. There was a loose or a wire that had just become unsoldered, which took me about 2 hours to find, and put that back on. The auto plunger assembly, just like the screws were totally loose on that, and it wasn't working, and it was spitting the ball out, and it was super dirty. So that was fixed. I played the game, and I remember having fun on the pinball machine, but I played it and I was like, wow, I'm in love with this pinball machine. So I was like, okay, Doctor Who, let me fix Doctor Who, and maybe this will be the one that, because I kind of want to sell a pinball machine, maybe this will be the one that I can't fix again. I opened it up. There were $2 in the coin box. Woohoo! Someone paid to play this machine.
Awesome.
On free play. Half the coils didn't work. There was a fuse that was blown, so I replaced that. I have no idea why it blew. The left target on the time expander wasn't working. Now, I noticed this while I was playing Jordan in that PAX tournament. And it was pissing me off, but there's still 4 other targets that worked fine, but I have to fix it because it's a target. It's not working. I tried my hardest to fix this opto issue just by like taking the cheap way out and plugging in connectors and reseating cables. That didn't work. So I had to take the entire assembly out. I think I sent you a photo of it.
Yeah.
It's huge. And it was cool because I actually didn't know how this, it worked. I didn't say, oh, hey, how does this thing work, and take it all apart because I'm interested. I don't care about how things work if they're working. But because it was broken, I opened it up. Those 5 targets, there's a little they get pushed in, there's a little opto that gets cut. One of them wasn't working. I had to disassemble the entire thing. It ended up being just one of the traces had kind of lifted off the little PCB, so I just had to resolder that on, which it sounds easy, but I'm very rusty with repairs. It took me, 2-3 hours, and then had to put it all back together. So that's Doctor Who. I played a game on that, and I am in tune with Doctor Who. I've been getting massive scores on that because I can finally, I feel like I'm dialed into that ramp shot, and I've been getting scores close to, almost above 500 million every single time.
And so what are the name of the enemy robots in that game?
Daleks. I had to think about that one.
Are you sure?
Not Day.
Daleks.
Not Daleks. Dude, that multi-ball is... I don't know how I'm going to... I really want to not like Doctor Who, but now that I can hit that ramp, I got the multiplier up to, what is it, like 4 times? And I go into the Supreme... like, killing this thing is worth 400 million. It's so exciting. Anyway, the Shadow, the EOS switch at the top had snapped off, and the flipper was getting wedged. So I've ordered a new EOS switch for that. But EOS switches apparently in Williams machines don't actually matter at all. Someone told me that the Fliptronics system was updated that a certain number of milliseconds after you flip, it goes into low power mode anyway, regardless of if the EOS switch is active or not. So I just bent that forward until I get that part in the mail. Is that really exciting stuff, Marty?
Well, it's also the end of stroke switch for those people that don't know what EOS is.
And lastly, I fixed white water because the upper flipper wouldn't work just by resetting all the cables, and it's working for now. Hopefully it doesn't die again, that upper flipper. And I changed all the LEDs out to ice blue, and it looks so freaking cool. The ice blue cyan is that how you say the color? CYAN, cyan?
Yeah, cyan.
Yeah. Okay, cyan. It's the exact same color as the baby blue that's on the playfield. So it looks like there's a swimming pool in the whirlpool area.
Well, I've never played your whitewater, so I must have to do it over there one day.
It's hardly worked since I've got it. So
that's probably why.
Right now it's working. Get over here. Let's play some whitewater.
Absolutely.
It's so much fun. Oh, okay, one more thing I've got to mention. Sorry, I know I've got verbal diarrhea at the moment. I'm trying to say this as quickly as I can. So we've got a quick podcast today. We're talking about audio cues and stuff last week with David Thiel and how he's really good at doing that. I noticed that if you miss the, like when you get start multi-ball on whitewater and it spits out 3 balls perfectly to the upper flipper, you have to try and hit that jackpot. If you don't get that jackpot, the audio starts again perfectly. So by the time it gets to the flipper, it's at the exact same time on all 3 balls if you don't hit the jackpot. So it's like he gives you 3 perfect opportunities to hit that jackpot. Like it's not like all these different sounds are going off or Cherry Bomb starts playing and you have to it repeats itself. If you hit the jackpot, then it's doing the light show and stuff like that. And I noticed it for the first time and I thought, wow, that is brilliant. Like you can sync up with that sound, and if you just happen to miss that first shot, your second shot is perfectly in sync with the exact same music and sound as the first shot was. I appreciate that. That is there you go. Whitewater.
Awesome whitewater.
What did you get up to this week, Marty?
Well, a couple of things. So I can't remember which day it was, but I was watching the Buffalo Pinball stream. And it was, I think Kevin was on, and he was playing Swords of Fury, and he was showing off his new Pin Stadium kit that he'd put on Swords of Fury, and it looked fantastic. So I've bought Pin Stadium for my Wizard of Oz, which I'm very much looking forward to.
I blocked that guy on Pinside. Sorry, I just had to say that. Because he's on every single thread. Anyway, I'm glad you got it, and I would not help you installing it.
Oh, go on, let me. No,
okay.
It's an easy install, so I'll be able to do that. And of all the machines, I think that needs it, it's Wizard of Oz.
For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just very dark.
It sounds like a great product for a lot of people. I'm tongue in cheek about the whole blocking in thing. I actually would like to see it installed on your machine, because Wizard of Oz side by side with Hobbit is the darkest machine out there.
Yeah, so I got the GI kit as well, so it all does sort of sync up with all the lighting, and I've seen some video footage of it, but I don't want to see too much, because I want to just install it and then experience it for the first time and just go, wow, that looks great. So Pin Stadium on its way. I don't know how long it's going to take. It could take a week. It could take 3 weeks. Apparently they're in demand, so I'll get it as soon as I can, and I'll let everybody know what it looks like. And you'll be able to see it stream on the Melbourne Silverboard League Twitch page.
And we are the only ones not sponsored by Pin Stadium, so this will be a real opinion.
A real plug. And the only other thing, I've got to apologise for anybody that did, speaking of Twitch, anybody that did happen to watch the Saturday night stream, because on Saturday in Melbourne there was a gin festival, and I love gin. This gin festival was called Junipalooza. Do you know why it was called Junipalooza?
It was meant to be in June, but they got too drunk and...
Yeah, no. So juniper is the juniper berry that forms the basis of all gins, just so you know.
Okay.
And so this was all day it went, and there was 18 distilleries, and I think we ticked off 16 of them. And then it started pissing down rain, so we were so the most inebriated I've been in a very, very long time. And so what did I decide to do when we were absolutely drunk? We came back to my place and we streamed The Hobbit, and it was very, very funny.
What goes through your head? You're like, I'm absolutely wasted. Let's start streaming pinball.
Yep. Well, that's just what we did. And we don't remember a lot of it, but it happened and it was a bit of fun. So thank you and apologies to those people that watched. So I did get a lot of feedback and messages from people saying how much fun they thought it was. So
I've got to watch it, because I watched the first 5 minutes of the last 5 minutes, and I think someone ended up on the floor and got out.
Yeah, I had to shut down the stream because it was just people were yelling and screaming. But just on that, I just wanted to say there's actually been a lot of people. The numbers now viewing my Twitch page have increased, and a lot of people are coming by and saying that they love the podcast and the stream. So thank you everybody for coming along. It's just because we like to play pinball and entertain people. So I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Anything else you got up to this week, Marty? Did you watch Justice League?
No, but you were right. The reviews of Justice League have come in, and apparently it's a complete stinker.
Well, I had a friend who watched it today and said it wasn't that bad, but I think I'll wait for the Blu-ray for that one.
Yeah, I don't think I'll even wait for that. So I think it's got like a 37% Rotten Tomatoes score, so it's not going well.
Do you know one of my favorite movies, Marty, has like a score worse than that? It's my one guilty pleasure.
Okay.
It's White Chicks. Have you seen that movie?
I've never seen it.
Oh my god. Me and Chanel, there's no reason why we should like this thing. It's kind of like the Doctor Who kind of thing. It's 15% on Rotten Tomatoes. We have watched it. It's going to be at least 30 times. I don't know why. It's so I don't, Rotten Tomatoes. It does.
I know, and you like dialed in.
It's fine.
Cool.
All right, we got some feedback.
We do have some feedback.
Last week, I was kind of talking about some stuff that I hadn't done much research on, and I was kind of talking about I think they're called the Little Leagues, where the Australian ACS, what is Australian Championship Series?
Championship Series, yes, that's right.
Yeah, so the 32 players that have accumulated the most IFPA points throughout the year get invited to a kind of a championship series. I thought it was kind of, based, it should maybe be based off the best players, and maybe but it's based off the most amount of points. And there were some competitions being held in Queensland where instead of there being kind of like one competition, there was kind of 7 tournaments ending on the same day, which kind of can help increase the amount of points you got. I accidentally kind of singled out someone through, mentioning how many tournaments this person had played. I wasn't trying to poke fun at the person at all. I should have just kind of said there's a couple of people with over, say, 80, and that's what I should have done, but I kind of mentioned the exact amount. With a little bit more research and talking to this person, without all of those little tournaments, they would be up there in the top 10. So the little leagues don't really matter that much. And from what I've heard, you're probably going to be invited anyway, because not all the 32 people will be able to attend. And I think last year it slid down to the top 60 were all invited. Is that right, Marty?
Yeah, because people have got to all come around from around Australia, and the next championship series will be in Adelaide, so not everybody can make it there, and I hope to go. But as I sort of said last week, I was aware of these competitions, and I don't really mind them that much as well. And it was really good that this person did get in contact with us and spoke to both of us. We had a Skype meeting during the week, and look, as I'd said, the IFPA sort of monitor these things, and apparently they're well aware of them. And the good thing about these tournaments is that they are designed to promote new players coming in to play in these comps, and that's what they do. So good on them. I don't have a problem with them, and hopefully I'll get into the ACS anyway.
Yeah. So this person also mentioned that, he said, why am I ranked this high? I don't think my ability, should have me ranked this high. And I think he contacted the IFPA and Josh Sharp. And Josh Sharp has said multiple times that the purpose of these competitions is to encourage participation. So, might be a discussion around, does it have the right effect on the tournament thing? Well, there's more and more tournaments being held all the time. So I guess it is having that effect. And if it's just about kind of having the top 10 or your top 10 tournaments and that average that out, then once people hit that quota, they're going to stop coming to tournaments, right? So
yeah, that's right. And look, at the end of the day, you've still got to come to the ACS and you've got to compete against 32 or 31 other people and do well. So, it's still all fair.
Yeah. So as I said, I apologize for sticking my foot in my mouth, I guess, and I don't know much about tournaments, so I kind of thought I was calling this thing out. But if Josh Sharp wants it done this way, then that's how it's done, right?
Yeah. But look, also as we said, we aren't journalists, and we don't want to see ourselves as journalists. As soon as we do that,
excuse me, Marty, I sat there counting hexagons last night. So.
But we just wanted to do this just to have a bit of fun, have a bit of shits and giggles, talk about pinball, and I've sort of quoted this to people, and we talked about this at the Flip Out event where we did a seminar. We just thought we were going to do this and just crap on for a couple of hours each week and just talk about pinball. Then all of a sudden we're having to talk about John Trudeau. So we do have to report on some sensitive topics, but as soon as we see ourselves as being journalists, it's not fun anymore. So
yeah, we will make mistakes. We will say things that might offend people. We're human beings. Contact us. This is not something serious. We're not out to create controversy. We don't sit there and say, "Hey, how can we get people talking? Let's really piss people off." If something comes out, it just comes out. So again, apologies. I will attempt to do some more research next time I talk about tournaments.
Anyway, so I'm actually just very pleased that the person got in touch with us, and we recommend anybody just get in touch with us because, we like talking to people. It's what we do.
The mailbag, Marty.
We have got mailbag. So our good friend Marcus wrote in. So you met Marcus, I met Marcus, and Marcus is great. He's the one that actually had the Rosstown Retro Pinball Arcade that we had a tournament against, where he had all those old solid state machines. But he's also brought his 5-year-old. Well, I'd say 5-year-old now, but probably been since the age of 3 has come along to tournaments. And he actually just wrote in saying, on the topic of kids pinball, thought I would share with you the impact the tournament has on my 5-year-old. While we were practicing, I'm of course telling him how good he is. So he told me that he hoped to make the finals and win. Then I had to bring him down and say that maybe he won't win the whole comp, as there's some very good big kids there, and then started crying. But it was all okay because he actually got a medal. We talked about everyone got a medal. Then they had a special day at school where you bring a photo and talk about it. Being a bit shy last time, the teacher said that he just froze, but this time he took a photo of him at the pinball competition, and the teacher spoke after, saying she was amazed at how confidently he got up and told all of the kids in the class about pinball, especially as none of the kids even knew what a pinball machine was. So he explained about pinball machines and how to play them. The kids asked lots of questions and he answered them, and even the teacher learned a lot about pinball. So now the kids are going to come over and play pinball at his place. So I think it's a great story.
Yeah, it is. As I said, it's it's almost like an avalanche effect. Where one person does something and then it branches out. So my kid went and showed a medal off, and we had I talked a little bit in a previous episode. We had to cut it out because our podcast was too long. But on my kid turned 6 and we had a birthday here, and all the kids just hadn't. We hired an entertainer, and everyone hated the entertainer. And there was no point because the kids went in their free time. Like 3 or 4 of the kids left the entertainer that we paid for to play pinball, and the biggest barrier, I guess, to getting kids interested in pinball, I think, is yes, they can play it and they might see it on site and chuck a couple of dollars in there, but all these parents are asking me how much these machines cost, and I didn't want to say, oh, this one costs $12,000. This is Tronelli or something. I would start with the cheapest one. I'm like, oh, this is a $3,500 machine, and they looked at me like I was freaking crazy. So you test the waters with the cheapest pinball machine you have, and then you don't say anything else after that. And they're kind of like grabbing their kids, like let's go. This guy's crazy. He has what they think is like $60,000 in this room, but it's more. Anyway, yeah, it was a great event. I can't take my kid to the Bayside Pinball Club because it starts at 7 o'clock.
It does.
My kids are fast asleep by 7:30.
Yeah. So he does say that he takes his kid to the Bayside comp because he gets to play his 3 games straight away and then off to the playroom. And he said there's a raffle ticket for a pinball machine and there's a prize for last. He said, which he did get last year when he played for the first time, but actually does beat some grown-ups as well, which is quite fun.
Yeah. So that's the mailbag. I want to give a couple of shout outs to some other podcasts and stuff. Yeah. So the first one is Dennis and Tony from the Eclectic Gamers podcast. I had a really good listen. Not sure if you've had the time to, Marty.
About the street level pins. Yeah.
Yeah, so we were talking about the street level pins, and they did this amazing. We talk about research, like we journalists, we have to do research. This is one of those episodes, and is episode number 47. And I suggest having a listen because he kind of goes through Gottlieb's venture into street level pins and then kind of I didn't know that Gottlieb also tried to get into poker machines.
Yeah.
But they didn't succeed, and that's kind of like the difference between Williams and Gottlieb, where Gottlieb didn't do it, and their pinball machine company was kind of still making money, but they had to kind of close the whole thing down. Williams, their pinball machines were doing okay. They made money off the Pin 2000 system, but their pokey started making a lot of money, so they just shut down the entire pinball division. So it's interesting to kind of contrast those two things. So give them a listen. It's Eclectic, which is spelled Eclectic. They got a thread on Pinside and everything.
And it was kind of really cool that they had planned on already talking about street level pins, and they heard our podcast, and it was just really good timing because we talked about the fact that we played Silver Slugger. And they own one of those machines, and that was the very first street level machine to come out, and the most popular. It sold 2,000 units.
Yeah, and I think he also talked about Striker Extreme, they kind of cashed in on that because there wasn't a machine ready or something. It was Striker Extreme, so that wasn't a street level machine. But I'm not sure if we talked about it, but I played that at PAX, and that's an absolutely horrible machine. It's so bad.
World Challenge Soccer.
Oh, that's World Challenge. Okay, so is that a Gottlieb machine?
Yeah, and that is one, and that is just a terrible machine.
Oh, okay. Next podcast I want to give it's not podcast, so it's a website, This Week in Pinball. I don't have time at the moment to trawl Pinside, and sometimes when I do, I get a bit overwhelmed because sometimes you're just reading the same thing over and over again. So I still get my own information, but sometimes when we're running a bit dry, I email Jeff and he shares his This Week in Pinball post with me a little bit early because, we literally are recording when he's typing, doing the fine touches. So every other podcast literally just reads off it. We don't get that luxury unless I email him. So every once in a while I do. It's an absolutely amazing pinball machine. It's the entire week of pinball in one simple blog post, or you can listen to us ramble on about it for 2 hours.
Yeah, he is amazing. He just does such good work.
All the other podcasts I listen to, the Slam Tilt podcast, Brody Even Talk Pinball, Coast to Coast when Nate wants to do it.
Come on, Nate. We miss you.
Canada's Pinball podcast, good value there. Pinball Profile by Jeff Teolis. Pinheads, whenever they do it. Spooky Pinball, straight down the middle. Love those guys. The Pinball Players podcast is a fairly new one. Well, I mean, almost done as many episodes as we do.
Yep.
Jeff's great. And this Flippin' podcast. That's all of the podcasts on my podcast list.
And same. They are great.
Yeah. So
well done.
Are we done?
We are done for the week. Thank you very much for listening. Are you going to sing me out?
Well, before I do, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Our website is head2headpinball.com. Our email address is head2headpinball@gmail.com. Connect with us. If you're listening to us on iTunes, can someone give us a rating? I think you can somehow click on a podcast and give it a rating. I don't even care if it's 1 star or 5 star.
Just a rating would do.
Just do it. Yeah, I want like a Rotten Tomatoes version of. I want to find out what caliber of podcast we are from the people.
We don't need to know.
It helps. All right, I'm going to sing you out. I gave you a little clue in the show notes. Well, apparently Keith Allen is making this pinball machine, so I'm gonna sing the theme to the theme. Sing the theme song to the theme that he's going to be doing. Okay. You ready?
Yep.
It's not going to go long, so just and don't laugh on top of me because then I'll lose my concentration. Okay. Okay. Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true, you're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party and invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say, thank you for being a friend. Do you know what that's all?
The Golden Girl.
Yeah, baby. You got it. Done.
Thank you, everybody. That was amazing. Sing out. Thank you very much, Ryan.
Do you get the whole the little? Yes. Okay.
Got it.
All right, guys. See you later.
All right. Bye.